If you're a new video game music composer, here is why you're probably failing. Most new game music composers don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack a strategy. If I lost everything today, so no DAW, no credits, no connections, here's exactly what I would do. Hey guys, this is Melin, and I've had the honor of working on over 100 titles across video games, films, podcasts, ad campaigns, and kind of everything in between. You might recognize my work from Dark Dice, Monster Sanctuary, Ethermancer, Paperclay, Araduna, Animal Kind, and many more. I've sold over 18,000 video game music packs, and I am the founder of Video Game Music Alliance, which is where I help composers such as yourself support their families writing music for video games online. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a 30-day action plan to take practical next steps to actually build this dream business of yours as a game composer. Take it from someone who has helped countless others do the same for themselves. I hope that this video is genuinely helpful for you. So let's go. Mistake number 1, composers don't treat their craft as a business. Most beginners act like hobbyists waiting to be discovered. If I started over today, I would, number 1, establish professional presence immediately. This one's important. So what I would do is I would actually build a clear website. I would probably use a free trial of Squarespace because Squarespace is what I currently use for my business. And I can't tell you how many times I've come across in coaching calls or working with inside Video Game Music Alliance where countless young composers or new composers, they don't even have a website. When I ask, hey, can I listen to your music? Or hey, tell me more about yourself, they have nothing to send me. Of course, these people are not getting work because there's nowhere for game developers to find them. So that is absolutely step 1. If you learn nothing else from this talk today, you have to have a website. You have to have a landing page that people can find you and learn more about you and your style. The next thing I would make sure of is inside the website, I would have a curated Real Crafter playlist. Don't send and don't put on there your 20 best tracks or your 50 best tracks. Don't give me 10 different genres of music and different styles and everything you've ever written for college and whatever. No. Put like your best 3 or maybe your best 5 tracks on there. I personally love using Real Crafter. You could use something else like SoundCloud or another free option, but honestly, I feel like Real Crafter is the best of the best, made by a composer, Sam Hulick of Mass Effect fame. And the reason he created Real Crafter was because when he was sending his pitches to potential clients, he found that most of the modern solutions were just crappy and they don't do a good job of giving you any kind of analytics. So Real Crafter is built from a game composer for game composers, specifically for this idea of sending your music as a pitch to a game developer, and that website will actually give you the analytics of who clicked on it, when did they click on it, how much of your music did they listen to, which portion of your tracks did they listen to only 1 track or 3 or 5, and it gives you some really important data that you can help tweak that demo reel, that playlist for the future. And also, it's a basic embed link that you can put inside Squarespace or any other web page that you can just put right there on your website, which is amazing. Another thing you got to make sure is you have clear branding. Another thing I come across all the time is there are composers who are asking me, how do I get more work? How do I actually land a gig? And this is probably one of the biggest things is it has to do with branding. When you talk about yourself, you should be able to have an elevator pitch that describes who you are and what does your music sound like. So instead of just calling yourself a generic music composer, be a music composer for 2D action games based in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever you live. I believe you should be a specialist first, and then over time, once you have more work and you have more clients and you have more credits, you have more experience in other types of media, such as film, such as ad campaigns, what have you, then you can be more of a generalist because you already have a track record of doing good work in multiple fields. But if you're just starting off and you have 0 credits and you just don't have any experience, start by being a specialist of the one thing that people say you're the best at. And you're probably not going to be able to tell through your own opinions and your own ears what you're the best at. So ask friends, ask game developers specifically, if you can, to get that feedback so that you know what you should be putting out there as your brand. It should be very clear, very simple. If you don't look professional, developers won't treat you like a professional. The second thing that I would do is I would create value for developers. So I would release a video game music pack. You guys have seen me here on YouTube talk about this for years, of how this has been a significant portion of my income. And the students that I've worked with in coaching and in Video Game Music Alliance, I have had lots of people who have finally taken the step of releasing a video game music pack, and they have landed custom gigs as a result. This is such an important part of business today. So I would specifically make it useful. So that means loops, WAV files, organized folders like I've taught you guys to do. And what it does is it builds trust and it builds your portfolio. It gives you an actual place to send game developers, especially if they are already familiar with Unity or the Unreal game engine. When they learn that your music is on those websites, that is very powerful. This positions you as a solution, not a beggar. And the third thing that I would do is I would join game jams immediately. Join 2 game jams this month on itch.io. There is always a game jam going on itch.io. So you have no excuse of not being able to work with a team, no excuse for why you don't have music in a video game, because the opportunity is right there in front of you and it is free. So what if you don't get paid for this? You're building your experience, you're building your credits, you're building relationships, and you're learning how to produce quickly. You're getting that production speed up. Stop waiting to be hired. Go where the developers are. Mistake number 2, composers don't build momentum. Most composers create quietly for years and wonder why nobody notices them. Wake up. If I started over today, I would, number 1, document everything. I would upload to social media every day and YouTube every week. I would share my progress, my wins, my failures, game jam music that I'm making, and lessons learned along the way. People follow journeys, not resumes. I would also remove distractions for 30 days. No non-educational TV, no gaming, no consuming social media. Not forever, just 30 days to kickstart this, to light a fire. I would wake up earlier so I could focus on exercise and meditation or prayer to really get my mind right every single day, especially before working. I would spend my nights reading, maybe reading 10 to 20 pages of composition or mixing or business. You must sacrifice in the short term to win in the long term. The third thing that I would do, I would have some sort of skill acceleration plan. We gotta get good fast. So if I had no DAW, I would download a free trial of Cubase and use stock sounds and plugins. You could certainly use something different like Reaper or Logic, whatever, but you need the tools to write music. You don't even have to pay money for it. You just need access to a DAW, you need access to some sounds and to some plugins. There's plenty of free stuff out there that you could use because you're gonna be writing for game jams, you're gonna be writing for your video game music pack. You gotta take this seriously, so you need the tools. I would binge Stephen Melin and other creators' free YouTube tutorials. And I would buy a focused course or private coaching to fast track learning by having a coach, by having a membership of other people, such as Video Game Music Alliance. That's what we do in there. It's like an incubator. Everyone in there is working towards the same goal of being a full-time video game composer. So we have challenges, we have coursework, we kind of grade in a sense. We grade and give critique on each other's work. And in doing so, it creates this fast track to getting good really fast and being ready for when the jobs do come. Speed matters more than perfection. The third mistake that composers make: composers undervalue themselves. This is probably the biggest problem of all because I see it all the time. And this is typically how my first call goes when I'm doing private coaching. Most composers come to me and they say, "I don't make enough money to make a living." And then I ask, "How much do you charge?" And they say, $100 per minute of, video game music. And then I slap myself in the face and say, "What are you doing?" This signals inexperience, low confidence, and it has a low perceived value from the client's perspective, from the game developers. Here's a reality check. The Game Sound Con annual survey, I love referencing this every year. The industry average rate is $500 to $1,500 per minute of game music. But the outliers in this survey, the top industry pros, they're earning $3,000 to $4,000 plus per minute. This should open your eyes a little bit. If you are undercharging, you are leaving so much on the table and you are making your life miserable for no reason. So here are my personal rules that I follow, and I hope that you'll take this for yourself. I never charge below $300 per minute. I always aim for $500 plus per minute minimum. And in reality, I'm somewhere in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, just kind of depending on the game. And I increase my rates as my credits grow and as my experience grows. Why do I do this? Because higher prices bring better clients. Serious developers expect serious rates. And cheap pricing traps you with low budgets. And I've been there. It's miserable showing up every day and writing a ton of music for a client who just doesn't even value your music. And they're not going to pay for it. And it's just a terrible experience. And I don't want you to go through that. So learn from my mistakes, charge higher, and have a better situation for yourself. Are you pricing yourself to survive or to build a sustainable career? You can't have it both ways. You got to pick one. And if you don't believe your work is worth $500 plus per minute, why should a developer? Are you tired of turning your wheels in your business with no traction, no momentum? Well, then I want you to apply this loop strategy in your business starting today. Let's see if it actually makes a difference. The loop strategy is what I'm referring to as a cycle that you should continue until you get the career results that you want. So this might be on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, or maybe even a quarterly basis. But I want you to walk through this strategy until you see the results that you want in the form of, income or even just clients. So here's what it looks like. Number one, you join game jams. Stop procrastinating on this. If you are not actively working on a video game soundtrack, how are you progressing in your career? How are you getting the experience you need or meeting the people that will hire you? And it's a free opportunity that you can join today and get started. Number 2, after you've joined a game jam, you need to be documenting your journey. Do this daily on social media and weekly on YouTube. And don't feel like this has to be some big production. You could literally grab your phone and start recording yourself and just share something with the world. Tell us what you did today or what you are doing today. That's all it is. Let us join you on the journey. Number 3, you need to be improving your skills daily. Even a small slice of 10 minutes a day can work wonders. And you can decide what that is. For me right now, it's actually practicing instruments. It's practicing cello or practicing guitar or practicing violin. I've done my 10,000, maybe even 20,000 hours of piano, so I'm pretty good at that already. But what I'm working on right now is cello specifically because I want to be better at it and I want to be able to record it better. And it's, my new instrument that I'm investing in. That's what it is for me, but in previous seasons, it's been reading a lot. I've read a lot of business books. I've read a lot about composition. I've read a lot about mixing and how to improve those skills. And you don't need to do a lot of skills at once. Pick one skill. Pick the one thing you really are interested in and it's going to inspire you and motivate you, and you know that you can stick with it. But just do that a little bit each day. Bonus tip is if you set aside a specific time at the same time each day for that consistency, that's going to help dramatically as well. Number 4, raise rates with every new project. Now, this is not always possible because sometimes you're just kind of trapped at a certain ceiling based on the budget of the game developer. But if you're working with a brand new game developer and you're negotiating, maybe take your last price that you charged for a previous game developer or project and just bump it up. Try 20% or 30% higher than what you charged last time. It should make you, cringe just a little bit, squeeze your cheeks just a little bit when you think about bumping it just a little bit out of your comfort zone. Don't go crazy. Don't double it or triple it or be crazy like that, because then you're not going to have the confidence to actually deliver. You're going to be just, operating under this crazy weight of maybe not measuring up. But just increase it a little bit from your last project and do this every time until you keep getting a lot of no's, a lot of, pushback. You really should try to push beyond your comfort zone in that area. Number 5, reinvest into better samples or live players. Last week, I actually did a video all about this concept of hiring live players instead of always relying on samples for your mock-ups. And the whole argument was working with live players is ultimately a better situation for speed and for quality and for the longevity of your career and for standing out as an artist and having a unique sound. So once you start earning some money from this craft and this career, start reinvesting. Yes, into better samples, but that's less important. I'd rather you put that money into live players. And even better, you should be using your client's budget to invest in these live players. Just do a little upsell. You could say, hey, for 500 extra bucks, I could record these 3 tracks, these 5 tracks for you. No additional charge except for, to cover the cost of the musicians. And that could have such an impact on your career. I know it has for me. Number 6, work towards releasing music products while waiting for custom scores. You're not always going to be hired. Even me, I've been doing this for about 20 years now. There are some months I do not have a custom gig. That's kind of rare these days just because I have a lot of connections and a lot of experience and a lot of, clientele that have a lot of recurring projects, whatever. But there are still months that I do not have custom scores. Therefore, I cannot live my life expecting to always be hired by someone. That's a very pipe dream, unrealistic way of doing life. It's living on hope instead of a strategy. So instead, I have to have music products in my life because it's paying the bills on the months that I'm not being hired for custom scores. And I hope that you'll treat it the same for yourself. So I want you to work towards releasing music products, typically in the form of video game music packs, or if you also like to do education, then maybe you have some courses or you have a community of your own or something in that realm, or even a book, right? I have my book, Family First Composer. I have different products out there floating around that helps to serve my audiences in different ways. And so by having this loop strategy, by continuously doing this, eventually music products will cover your bills, or game developers will hire you for custom music. If you're ready to take your video game music business seriously this year, I have a free music budget template that I would love for you to download and customize it to use for yourself. Don't just use my numbers and my categories, but take it as a template and modify it to actually make it useful for you and your business. Because time and time again, of the many composers that I've worked with over the years, probably the number one thing that's missing from their lives is tracking their data. Most composers fail to track their income and their expenses, so they really have no idea if they're even making progress, or they might get really discouraged. And by having a budget, they can actually look and they can see previous months compared to today, or they can forecast the months ahead in the year, and they can now, with actual data, see that they're making growth, they're making progress towards their goals. So grab that in the link in the description and customize it for yourself to take those next steps seriously. If you really want to be a successful video game music composer, then you're gonna have to sacrifice in the short term for the long-term freedom. Are you willing to do that? I would love to hear in the comments below. Tell me what steps that you're gonna take starting today to make some changes in your business to actually work towards that long-term freedom. I always jump into the comments and respond to you guys, so please let me know what's on your mind, and I'd love to join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.